It's Accountech Bytes, your ledger-loving look at the latest from the world of accounting technology with me, Tom Herbert. Thank you very much for tuning in. And if you find this useful, please like, subscribe, or follow, depending on your channel of choice. Let's get straight into the news. And we begin with this piece from the FT's Joe Cumbo, covering the fact that while the government's Making Tax Digital for Income Tax scheme went live at the beginning of April, just a quarter of those in scope have actually signed up for the programme. So a very quick reminder, from the start of this new tax year, anyone who's earned more than £50,000 in the previous tax year from self-employment or property income is required to use authorised software to keep digital records and send HMRC quarterly updates on their income and expenses. In November, the tax authority wrote to those taxpayers in scope saying they'd need to sign up and be ready to use the service from the start of the current tax year. However, 8 days after that deadline, just a quarter of those 864,000 people required to sign up had done so. The Association of Independent Professionals and the Self-Employed calls it concerning but not surprising. Accounting firm BKL calls the gap between policy ambition and taxpayer readiness very wide. However, HMRC says they expect sign-ups to rise through the first quarter in advance of the first quarterly filing deadline of August the 7th, and went on to say that the pace of sign-ups is following an expected trajectory informed by our experience of successfully launching MTD for VAT that went live a few years back. Is a 25% sign-up rate a good number? And the really big test for the programme will come after that August 7th deadline. It's also worth remembering that there are no late filing penalties for quarterly returns in the first year of the programme. One person who, it's fair to say, is not a big fan of the scheme is tax campaigner Richard Murphy, who uses his platform to ask, is Making Tax Digital going to destroy the UK tax system? And is on record as saying that the quarterly filing aspect of MTD is extremely onerous, rebuffs HMRC's claims that the cost of submitting these quarterly updates are inconsequential. He goes on to say that HMRC appear to be pursuing a policy they know can't work by picking on the most vulnerable targets in the world of self-employment, while deliberately avoiding challenging the real issues in tax collection in the UK. But regardless of the critics, the MTD scheme remains live, and vendors continue to release new products and services around it. This one from accounting platform Free Agent, and users can now prepare and submit quarterly updates to HMRC automatically. So this blog on the Free Agent site says the update makes it easier for practices to scale their support while maintaining accuracy and control, while clients who manage their own quarterly updates, with the accountants coming in at the end of the year, can also use this feature to set and forget, as it were, and keep their MTD compliance tasks on track. One of the many sticking points for accountants around MTD has been whether or not to get client approvals for quarterly updates as well as that end-of-year filing. Well, Free Agent claims they've reduced the admin associated with the client approval process through a new release, so accountants and bookkeepers can now send quarterly updates to clients for approval automatically and in bulk. More detail on the Free Agent knowledge base here. While Free Agent practice partners can also now file quarterly updates for multiple clients in one go, rather than having to repeat the same steps for each individual client. Again, there's a knowledge base article on this, a link to all these and everything else in the video in the description. Away from one compliance-based abbreviation and onto another that I know accountants just love, and that's GDPR. This is one that you Microsoft Copilot users might want to know. So last week, Microsoft turned on something called Flex Routing by default for all of its Copilot users in the EU. What does that mean? Well, it means that your Copilot data can now leave the EU for processing. When their European servers hit capacity, your prompts, emails, files are sent to the US, Canada, or Australia. If you're supposed to be GDPR compliant, that may well be an issue. It does appear to be a default option, so to turn it off, just go to Copilot settings and do not allow flex routing. Big congratulations to SME bank Alaka for another set of record-breaking results, including increased profit, revenues, and customer deposits. This goes to show a decent product targeting a known niche can succeed. Here's your weekly plug for the Accounting Excellence Awards. Are you an accountant, bookkeeper, or payroll professional in practice, business, or elsewhere? Do you like awards? Well, if both your answers to those questions is yes, then the Accounting Excellence Awards may well be the thing for you. So head on down to accountingexcellence.co.uk and check it out. Entries open until the 20th of May. Let's get on to some new stuff now, and automation platform Dext has expanded its new payments feature by adding payroll functionality. So this update to the payments platform that was released earlier this year enables businesses and their advisors to manage all outgoing payments, including employee wages, in one platform. Now, Briefcase One is the Making Tax Digital product from AI native bookkeeping tool Briefcase, and was officially launched last month. Well, we've got a quick update from Briefcase co-founder Ruben Steenkamp to let us know that open banking is now live in that product, supporting 82 UK institutions. So when a bank transaction lands in the system, it extracts the merchant, categorizes the transaction, assigns the business for those sole traders with multiple trades or properties, looks for a matching invoice, and automatically reconciles it if it finds one. And if similar transactions were cash coded before, then it will do the same. Tax accounting and practice management suite TaxCalc has announced enhanced integrations with Workiro and Virtual Cabinet to provide a smoother document management and tax workflow. Proposals and onboarding tool Socket now has, am I allowed to call it a sister company? Tax Scout? Let me know, Jonathan. Anyway, Tax Scout is the tool that's hooked up to the HMRC portal and allows you to see all your clients' tax obligations in one place. Another busy week for Practice Management Plus tool Sodium as it gets ready to launch into general availability mode. So you can now connect your Gmail or Outlook mailbox directly into the system. You can organize your staff into teams and assign tasks to a team rather than an individual. You can now save filtered views of your client list by status type, manager, partner, associate, or service. And they've made a few improvements to the professional clearance letters as well. And in a tech space dominated by AI hype and cloud computing noise, it's great to see new products launched that don't fit into that bucket. So here's a piece I've written about new desktop payroll tool, Snappy Payroll, that's come onto the market with a pitch aimed squarely at accountants and payroll bureaus that still want the benefits of desktop software to handle those heavy workloads. Founded by West Yorkshire-based payroll professional Chris Flaherty, Snappy is very much positioning itself as a fast, keyboard shortcut-heavy tool for users who feel that the market has drifted too far towards cloud and away from that day-to-day processing speed. So as Chris told me, sometimes running calculations for one pay slip on a cloud payroll system can take 25 to 30 seconds. If a company's got 200 staff and you're spending half a day waiting for calculations to run, how can you run a bureau on that basis? While we're on the subject of desktop payroll tools, a particular favourite of accounting web readers is Moneysoft. One big reason why a lot of firms and bureaus don't end up using Moneysoft is their lack of a cloud payslip portal where employees can access their payslips at any time. Well, accounting web reader Daniel has spotted a gap and filled it with a new product calling itself Payslip Stream. So Payslip Stream extends Payroll Manager with automated GDPR-compliant payslip distribution without changing how you work. Here's an update from Float.
They float.
That introduces comments and mentions. So this on the Float site says that this brings cash flow conversations to the place where they belong, allowing you to comment directly on an invoice or bill to track status, flag a question, or record a decision. This allows you to record the decisions behind budgets or bring more people into a conversation by flagging them, and they'll be notified by email. Referrals platform RQ has announced that it now integrates with IntelliFlow. So referrals flow in as leads, status updates sync back automatically, and introducers can see what's happening without anyone having to chase. Let's finish off in AI Inglenook for today then, and the virtual carnival that is LinkedIn does serve up some absolute beauties, and this is no exception, introducing you to the world's first AI CFO. So Blink AI CFO claims that it will do investment banking grade research and autonomously trades stocks and options for you. It also reconciles your books across Stripe and QuickBooks, drafts investor updates, and prepares your taxes.
Somewhere, someone knows what to do with your money. He charges $400,000 a year. You don't need him. Introducing the world's first AI CFO.
I think that's quite enough of that. So as you can imagine, in my job, I get pitched a huge variety of applications for artificial intelligence. So kudos to Sage for finding an angle that I hadn't been pitched on before, and that is around implementation. So this is Sage Intacct, the company's mid-market cloud accounting solution ERP system. And obviously for a lot of businesses, moving on to such a large system with such a variety of functionality is always a bit of a challenge. Well, apparently Sage and PwC have worked out how to use agentic AI to get finance teams up and running faster on that system by embedding AI directly into that implementation process. Lots of hype around Claude Co-work at the moment, so I thought this was a really interesting post from CPA David Fortin. He needed to reconcile two Excel files with his revenues, each of which were showing two different revenue totals for 2025. He dropped both the files into his co-work folder, asked it to compare them and help figure out which number was correct and why they differ. Long story short, his P&L was overstated and his accountant now has everything he needs. It's an interesting case study and one worth checking out if you're considering dipping your toes into the Claude Co-work ocean. And that's your lot for today. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you'd be kind enough to like, subscribe, or follow, I'd be extremely grateful. Hopefully, I'll be able to beam in from the West Coast next week and you'll have a video, but I'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching again. Bye for now.